It's a profound honor to stand before you in the uniform I had the privilege to wear, representing our nation in Afghanistan. Veterans Day falls on the anniversary of the end of a horrible war, a war that ended on the 11th hour, the 11th day, the 11th month in 1918, but not before it claimed the lives of 116,000 American soldiers, 335,000 Romanians, 650,000 Italians, 900,000 Brits, Aussies, and Canadians, 1.4 million French soldiers, and 1.7 million Russians. And that's just part of the tally on our side of the fight. Today we honor veterans on the 11th hour, the 11th day, the 11th month, and the 11th year of this century. And we do so while our nation is at war. How can we best honor our veterans? I say by learning, by taking action, and remembering always. My father-in-law, like some of you here, fought in the Korean War, a war that historians have come to call the Forgotten War. And how tragic and sad that is for the 34,000 Americans killed in action and the families who loved them. I served in Afghanistan with brothers and sisters, sons and daughters who make up the 1% of our population eligible to serve, that serve our nation in the time of war. The Afghan War seems to have become a forgotten war just months after it started in October of 2001. A war that seems to be an afterthought for much of our population. Even though it's our nation's longest war in our 235-year history, it's 3 times longer than World War II, 2.5 times longer than our Civil War, and longer than the Vietnam conflict. It's somewhat shameful for the 99% to think of the war as an afterthought. And I don't mean the 99% that you hear about on Wall Street, but the 99% of service-eligible people who do not serve our nation in the time of war. Recently, a major presidential candidate commented that he had no plan for Afghanistan, that if elected president, he would be briefed and then he would come up with a plan. And I will tell you that for the 1% who serve, that's an outrage. There is no resource more precious than a nation's children who serve at its beckon. We must all be stewards of that precious resource. All of you here today stand with me to honor our veterans of past wars and the 1% fighting today's war. I ask you all to become soldiers once more. Get the word out to the 99% of their need to honor the 1% by learning about their fight, taking action to help, and never forgetting. No war should be on automatic pilot, an afterthought of the American people. Every person has to be passionate about war. It is something that has to be done right or not done at all because of its horrible cost. Everyone is morally duty-bound to know what is going on and if convinced of the righteousness of the cause, assure that everything is given to achieve victory as quickly as possible. And if that cause appears to be folly, a waste of our precious resource, then push our leadership to be accountable to preserve that resource, those boys and girls, and bring them home. So learn about the fight of our veterans and our soldiers of today. Take action, do everything you can to help them and take care of them, and always remember, that's how we honor our veterans. Thank you.
At this time we'll have sounding of the taps to the colors.